Well, hello. Welcome to the first ever Whole Story podcast. My name is Robbie Woodard, and I'm joined by my business partner and great friend, Jonathan Hill. Jonathan, how are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. Trying to recover from surgery last week, so if my mouth seems odd, it's on purpose.
No worries. Well, we've already jokingly said episode one, backgrounds, voices, recovering from surgery will all get better and from here. So this is fun. So just a little bit about what we're doing with the Whole Story podcast. You know, we are a company Best Ball, and we'll tell you about that in a second. But we want to tell golf stories, and so we're going to have guests on each week to tell us their, an incredible golf story, one that means a lot to them. We'll learn about where they've played. We'll just ask some questions, get to know them a little bit, but we want to tell great golf stories. So if you've got a great golf story you want to possibly get on with us on our podcast or video, email us, info@bestball.com. And yeah, we'd love to chat with you. But Jonathan, talk to us a little bit about Best Ball.
Yeah, I mean, best ball is exactly that. Everyone at the end of the round is going to sit around, have a drink, and talk about what happened that day, the shot that you missed, the one that you didn't. And if you ask any golfer, hey, what's the best ball you've ever hit? It's going to be in their mind. Usually, it turns out to be like hole 18. I feel like it's got some magnet that makes everyone's shot feel like they can come back.
Yeah.
But reality is, for most of us, that one shot is literally what gets us back to the golf course the very next week or the next year whenever it happens again. So we just like to hear those kinds of stories and have fun telling them. We've got a few of our own that we're going to share later on today.
Yeah. It could be like a hole in one, or I had a friend, maybe we'll get him on one time. He got an albatross at a course, and all his buddy, he was going crazy. All his buddies said, "Hey, don't go tell him. It wasn't that hard of a shot, which, a two on a par five is crazy." He goes in the clubhouse. Hey, I got a two here on number nine, and the pro turns to him and says, "We get about two or three of those a week." And so it crushed his story, but he can always say he got an albatross. So, Jonathan, tell us a little bit about you're in Augusta, Georgia. I'm here in Columbia, South Carolina. Tell us a little bit about your golf history. Yeah.
It's definitely not as storied as the Augusta and where I live now, but I played baseball in high school and college. Never picked up a set of clubs or anything until I got done. And I figured, well, I can still swing hard. Just nothing went straight. I need to confess probably to the driving range in Lincoln, Illinois. I'm pretty sure I stole a lot of balls because they had this little coin thing and you could like slide it in just a little bit and then balls would come out. The very first golf round I went on, I thought I'd been hitting the ball straight on the driving range. And then I went to this like $20 for 76 holes place. And everything was just lined up right next to each other. And I'd start on number one and somehow hit it on the number four and then try it was a total disaster. But it was fun. You went out with your buddies. I think there were four or five of us. No one was good. And it was just a great time to hang out. And then I met Robbie. I guess it's been almost 15 years now or so. We were working together in Columbia, South Carolina. I still might have had the same $100 set of clubs from 10 years before. And we got out there a couple times and played golf. And since then, I'd like to think that I've gotten better, but I'm not convinced that that's true. I know now how not to hit balls really, really bad, and I try to make my game as simple as it can be. But I like
That's the
golf.
whole point of golf, right? Better misses.
Well, that you actually taught me most of that. Risk versus reward. It's the only thing, and which is why I putt from like 60 feet off the green as long as there's nothing in the way. Because if I swing that putter hard, it'll go a long way and hopefully
Yeah.
get me close to a three putt whenever I get on the green.
Man, I want to send you a video. I saw something online the other day of a guy at a driving range practicing his putter. He was swinging it really hard. And I was like, this is a good Texas wedge practice here. But that's yeah,
Listen,
no, you have definitely gotten better.
I think, yeah, I've gotten better. But it's definitely one of those things where you have a good time with your friends. I've got a 12-year-old son now, and we actually just signed him up for first tee lessons.
Nice.
And I'm hoping that maybe he can get decent at golf too, because the big part of golf, 90% of it is who you went and played golf with, right?
Absolutely.
Uh, playing golf by yourself, if you've got a chance to steal away for an hour and a half, is a lot of fun. But man, it's a lot more fun whenever you're meeting your buddy there in the parking lot, changing shoes in the trunk. There's not much that gets better than that.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Well, yeah. Well, you talk about getting to play with your son. I've got a almost 18-year-old, and he is close to beating me. Hopefully, I can hold on for a little bit longer. But I started playing. My dad would take me to play, but he cut down a set of old clubs that he had to my size when I was young. So I was probably, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years old when I had my first set of clubs. But granted, they were not made for kids, so they were weighted as a grown guy would use. But used to love just hitting it and following them around and playing. And but I, like you, I played baseball, throughout school. And so my golf swing, I'm a righty. Jonathan's a lefty, so we've got both sides of the tee box covered. But my golf swing through probably high school, middle of college, was it went out and then hung a hard right.
Yeah,
It wasn't a slice; it was a 90-degree turn.
that's right.
But I've straightened that out and continue to get better. But do love playing, and you're spot on, man. It's about who you get to play with and the stories that come from that. So, well, let me ask this, Jonathan. Part of what we're going to be doing when we talk to different guests and our friends, and kind of the whole point of best ball is the golf story, right? Like, what's your favorite hole or your best shot? So, I'll put you on the spot here. What is your best shot or favorite hole in golf?
So
Both or both.
yeah, the nostalgia of the Masters, it's really the only professional place. We went to the Waste Management a couple weeks ago, so I've seen that, hole number 16 in that whole atmosphere, that's something. But I still don't understand how professionals have a par three that's like 225 and the ball doesn't just scoot off the green and go somewhere crazy. So I think it's hole number four, maybe five over at the Augusta National, long par three.
Yeah,
And I
number
just
4. Yep.
every part of my life, I just want to tee up there someday. And I don't care. I don't want to play the whole thing. I don't even care if I just want to hit a tee shot and see like what's it feel like to come up 80 yards short on a par three. And so um, that's probably my favorite hole if I were going to pick one. I've got two quick stories of my most infamous shot, I believe, and you were there. And this was early on whenever, again, I didn't know what I was doing with golf. And I felt really bad because every time we went and played, I always felt like I was embarrassing you amongst your friends. And you're laughing because I'm sure you know which one this is.
I do.
Uh, I was maybe 120 yards out on an approach shot onto the green, and I thought I grabbed the 9 iron when I should have grabbed maybe a pitching wedge, and instead it was a 6 iron. And I drilled this shot, and unfortunately hit it
Hole
pure.
number 9.
Yeah, and I hit it up to the clubhouse underneath the metal awning, and it literally hit the door and just bounced around all over. And there were people there, so they were literally diving out of the way. And you just turn and look at me, and I mean, like if you could crawl into a hole, I didn't want to finish the round. I felt so bad, and somehow we didn't break the glass,
Nope.
but I absolutely drilled the whole place. And there's got to be some old person somewhere that still talks about the day they almost died on the golf course
Yep.
because somebody didn't know how to hit the approach shot onto the green.
Yeah.
That was my most infamous and still perhaps most embarrassing golf story. My favorite one, though, was my best round I've ever played. Linrick Golf Course, Columbia, South Carolina, public course. I played it almost every week for probably 6 months on a Sunday morning with another friend of mine. And I actually went out on my own one day. And the first one, I was like, I'm gonna focus today. And the first hole, I hit it right into the middle of the fairway. I laid up, or I got onto the green somehow. I two putted, of course, but I was par. I'm like, great, this is a good day. And the number two hole is a par three downhill. And somehow I was drilled in, and I knocked the ball within like a foot or two of the hole. And I even took a picture and sent it to you. I remember this. I took a picture and sent it to you and Andrew, another buddy of ours. And I'm like, I'm gonna birdie this hole. It might have been the very first time I ever birded anything. So I put it in, I get the birdie. I'm -1 through 2. And you can't tell me anything about golf at this point because I'm basically going pro. I'm literally thinking, I could do this. And then I shot a 10 on number three. I don't know how many times I lost the ball in the water, and I couldn't tell you what happened the rest of the day. But I always tell people my best round of golf, I was -1. And then I just try to leave off the fact that it was only through 2 holes. So,
Yeah. -1 and plus whatever through the other 16.
yeah, I mean, I probably ended up, I don't know, I probably shot 100. Actually, I probably stopped writing stuff down after the fourth or fifth hole, but those are like, that's my golf glory, which for most of you, maybe you can relate
Yeah.
what that looks like.
I've plenty of time started a few holes in and thinking this is going to be it. I'm pro now. I've figured it out, and then you have to hit another shot, and it all goes downhill very quickly.
All goes downhill
Um,
very quick.
yeah, so that's awesome. Very nice.
What about you?
Uh, I mean, favorite golf hole. I mean, if you're talking Augusta, I would say, I mean, number 12 is just it's awesome, right? It's uh the the weight of that hole and the effects it has on the tournament itself. I mean, it's one of those such unpredictable as far as the wind and just watching it, guys on a Saturday, Sunday playing it. I've never gotten to play it, so maybe someday I'll come back and say my best hole I've ever played is that one. But um, yeah, I've gotten to play a few different places. I say I got a couple. One of my favorites, I got to play Sage Valley, which is not far from you.
Nice.
And I was so nervous. First time ever there. The caddies in the white jumpsuits. I mean, it's like probably as close in my mind I could get to Augusta without playing Augusta National. And first hole is a par four. It drops off, I don't know how many, 60 feet, 70 feet or something like that to the fairway. And I hit a moonshot with my drive. I'm thinking before I hit it, I'm like, I'm going to hit this up. It's going to fly, carry forever. I'll have an easy wedge or something. And I just skied it up in the air. And I end up with like 190 yards out. And the guy that invited me, he's looking at his guest or no, the member there. And they're like, oh gosh, this is going to be a long round. And somehow I hit a 6 iron to like 2 feet for my second shot. Walked away with a birdie. And played pretty decent. So that was it. Another one I played, of course, at the beach with some friends. And this was just a group of guys, and we were doing a little tournament. And it was Litchfield Country Club. No, Pawleys Plantation. I'm sorry, in Pawleys Island, South Carolina. Wind was just absolutely whipping. We're out on the marsh, and par three into the wind. I want to say it was like 100 and I don't know, 50-yard shot, all carryover marsh. And one of our buddies had donated a Yeti cooler. His business had an extra one. He said, I'll closest to the pin, whoever gets this. And, wind is coming at us. I end up hitting a 5 iron, which, I normally at that time probably hit it about 200 yards. So I clubbed up about 4 or 5 clubs and stuck it to about 3 feet. Won a cooler. I missed the putt though. So anyway, I mean, that's the
It was
beauty of
windy. It
yeah, it
was
was very
windy.
windy. I
It was
didn't account
very
for the wind
windy.
on the putt. That's right. But I mean, that's the beauty of golf stories, right? Like we can
That's right.
remember exactly what we did, the club, the wind, who we were with.
That's right.
Yeah, that's what we want to do with the podcast. And so it's going to be fun. Well, one of the other things, Jonathan, that I want to do, and you and I've talked about it when we have guests on, we're going to call it quick nine, right? Like you want to go out and play a quick 9 holes or something. So I'm going to ask you 9 kind of rapid fire questions. This is just get to know our guests a little better. And today we'll do it to get to know each other, or so
And just
everybody
so
can
you
get to
know,
know
I have
us.
no idea what these questions are, which
Yeah.
makes me a little nervous, but I'm going to ask him 9 questions, which would make him a lot more nervous.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they're all golf related, right? So, all
Yeah,
right. So quick 9, here we go. If you could play any course in the world, and we're going to take Augusta National off the list, what would it be?
sure. Um, there's actually this Kazi Hills golf course in Shillong, India, which is like I think it's one of the most natural golf courses. I'm going to be there in India this summer, but I've never played the course. I've watched it, and there's people like picnicking on the fairways, and it just looks like regular grass. But like, if I could pick the one course that I'd be like, well, what's the most random thing you could find? I think it'd be that one.
Okay. What's the name of it again?
I think it's in Kazi Hills. It's in Shillong, India,
Okay.
but I don't remember the exact name.
Cool.
I've
All right.
driven through their fairway a number of times
Very nice. All right.
because they've
Second
got
question.
roads and yeah.
Second question. Favorite golf club in your bag?
Oh, 7 iron, 100%,
Okay.
because it can go any distance that I need it to go.
There you go. True or false? If you have 100 shots on number 12 at Augusta National, can you get a hole in one?
Oh, no, I would hope that I can maybe get to the green. Like, I'm just hoping out of 100, I don't think there's any hole anywhere that I could have 100 shots and get a hole in one, which by the way, we
We
should
will try
try
that.
that someday.
We will definitely
Maybe
try that.
maybe 12. We'll get in touch with the National and see what they say. They're
Yeah.
in a
Just,
couple of weeks, no one will be around.
yeah, on an off week.
Yeah.
All right. Happy Gilmore or Caddyshack?
Happy Gilmore. That's actually how I used to drive to make everything go straight for a very long time.
Okay. Favorite hole type, par three, four, or five?
Oh, that's tough. Um, there's nothing better than a par three where that pure like 9 iron pitching wedge or something like that pops up and it's just beautiful art. I'd go with a third par three.
Okay. All right. You being from Illinois, and I know your baseball team, would you rather batting practice with the Cardinals or a driving range with golf pros?
Oh, batting practice with the Cardinals, 100%. There's no
Okay.
way.
All right. Number 7, golf cart or walk?
10 years ago, I would say I'd always want to walk, and now I think I'm more golf cart, but I'd like to be in shape enough for the rest of my life that I can still actually walk 18 holes. But right now, that's not possible. So,
Yeah. All right. 2 more. Favorite current favorite pro golfer?
um, there's the obvious ones of Rory and stuff like that, but I like Justin Thomas, but more because of the friendship that you see on the course with some of the other guys.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably the reason because they just seem to be like a bunch of guys hanging out playing golf.
Yep. Very nice. All right. Last question. Best course you've ever played?
The best course I've ever played.
Yep.
Um, this is a humble brag, and I apologize. I just got back from Cabo like last month, and I mean, a golf course that was paid for, by the way, which made it really nice. The best, yeah, that was probably the best. I played at some course. I have no idea what the name is. Sorry, I can't plug you guys. Best golf course, and they had taco stands, so you got tacos like every third hole. That might
Very
have
nice.
pushed it over for me, but definitely the best course I've ever played.
Very nice. Well, cool. Well, you have completed Jonathan Hill, the quick 9. So there you
All right.
go.
Well, now we're going to make the turn and we're going to come back to the back nine with Rob. So
All right.
here's my 9 golf questions as well. What is your favorite club in your bag?
Probably 7 iron as well.
Okay.
Yeah, always been the most consistent of all the inconsistency. Yeah.
What is the favorite drink to have on the golf course?
Um, you know, a good Gatorade is nice, but I'll say a little bourbon and ginger ale.
You need the Gatorade to offset in Colombia in the hot summers, right?
Yep.
Where is the best hot dog that you've had on a golf course?
Uh, I don't know if there's ever been a bad hot dog on a golf course. There's something about
Isn't it true?
going at the turn and getting a hot dog. They always taste amazing.
All right. What's the longest pair of shoes that you've owned? Like, how long have you owned your golf shoes?
Oh gosh. I've had them, I bet 5 or 6 years.
Golly.
Yeah.
I feel like I have to get new ones every time I turn around.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't get to play as much as I'd like, but they're getting close. They're Echoes and they're awesome. But I'm probably getting close within the next year.
All right. What's the most expensive ball you've lost?
Most expensive ball.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess anytime you lose a Pro V1, and I've lost plenty of those and plenty of other ones. So
Um, have you ever thrown a club in the water after you've lost one of those Pro V1s?
in the water, no.
You've thrown a club though, I'm guessing?
Not too. I dropped them, maybe kind of tossed them, but I've never like overhand chopped two hand. Just never just let it fly like that.
I didn't think you had, but I thought it'd be really interesting if there was a story I didn't know that you did know.
No.
Have you ever played golf with your wife?
Uh, yes. We went to a driving range one time and she actually hit it. But on our honeymoon, we found us a local municipal course and she was out there and I played some golf. She rode around with me. So yeah.
It's always a good time.
Yep.
What's the longest you've ever hit a ball?
I probably like 330, 340, something like that. It was, yeah, it was one of those,
Further than that.
maybe, but I mean, that's what's coming to mind. Like, you hit it right. And I mean, I hit it, well, I used to be able to hit it 300 or so, but probably caught a good break and a good roll to edge out a little more.
And then finally, what's the most expensive golf club you've ever used? I don't think it's in your bag, but I'm assuming you've been somewhere that you've been able to grab something that you're like, I can't believe they're letting me touch this.
Most expensive golf club. Um, I don't. I mean, I've hit a few friends, different drivers. I've only purchased one brand new golf club in my life, and it was
Yeah.
the Titleist 913 driver that I have now. So, I mean, I want to say it was a year or so old when I got it. So, 200-300 bucks. I'll go with that.
And a quick plus one on that one. Do you remember the Mickey Mouse Club that we used in one of our tournaments? We were down in Myrtle Beach and a guy forgot his driver, so he went to Walmart and bought a $30 driver
Oh
with
yeah,
the head that was so large. And it outdrove every driver that was on
yeah.
the course that day. It was
What was
so
that?
great.
Yeah, I'll have to remember that one. But that, yeah, I do.
I call it the Mickey Mouse. We call it the Mickey Mouse Club because the head was ridiculous,
Yeah.
and there were a couple guys that had some really expensive golf clubs
Oh
that
yeah.
that one outdrove for sure.
Yep. Well, that's awesome, man. I like the quick nine. I think our guests will enjoy that. And I think everybody will enjoy getting to know them a little more with some random questions. So we'll have to mix it up every time. All right. So this week coming up, PGA plays Valero Texas Open. They just did the match play in Austin. But there's another tournament. Jonathan, what's going on in your hometown this week?
Yeah, so for the next couple weeks, it's going to be busy on Washington Road, but just to the left of me, 10 miles down the road, is the ANWA. Had an opportunity last year to go to that. It was
Anwar
amazing.
being what?
Oh, sorry, the Augusta, it's sitting right here in front of me. Augusta National Women's Amateur. They play at Champions Retreat for a couple days, and then they wrap it
I've
up
gotten
on
to play there.
Saturday.
Beautiful course.
You've got to play Champions?
Yeah.
That would probably be the nicest course I've ever played on if I got to go there. But they play there for a couple days. I've got a friend who's on the grounds crew there, so I get morning updates of what the course is like and all the different places that they're mowing for the day. And they wrap up on Saturday. So if you get a chance to find it, I think it's going to be on the Golf Channel as well as NBC Sports on Saturday.
Yeah. How and they do a cut, right? And so if
They
you don't
do.
play well enough at the Champions Retreat for a couple of days, you
Yep.
don't play Augusta.
Yeah, and
That
if
would
you
be
ever
sad.
get a chance, if you ever get a chance to go on Saturday to that event in Augusta, it's amazing because
Yeah.
not only do you get to watch some amazing women golfers, but there's probably one third the crowd. So you really get to enjoy the course.
Yep.
And they play from a distance that I'm guessing I'd be more comfortable playing with than what the men are playing. So it's
That is
nice to
true.
see how they're shaping their shots.
That is true. Yes, Augusta National is getting some action this week, and then we've got the Masters next week. So you've got a bunch of folks coming to town to be in your hometown and enjoy the Masters. So it'll be fun. We've got a guest next week that has some experience with Augusta National. He's gotten to play it. So looking forward to chatting with him next week. But yeah, so that's the whole story podcast. We're gonna tell some golf stories. We're gonna have some fun with it. Introduce you to some neat people. They won't always be the super celebrities out there, but they will have incredible golf stories. So, Jonathan, any closing thoughts before we cut out of here?
Welcome to episode one. We're looking for episode two. That's
Episode
the next
one,
thing, right?
yeah, in the books. So excited about it. Excited about hosting this thing with you. And go check out bestball.com. If you got some golf stories you want to remember, we've got some cool products and we do custom things for you to help remember that. So kind of like the other side, artwork in the back. We do custom, all kind of custom stuff. So bestball.com, go check it out. But yeah, For Jonathan, I'm Robbie. This is episode 1 of the Whole Story podcast brought to you by BestBall. Y'all have a good one.